All right, we're live. We're here. Clapping for the start of the stream. Does it work today? No! It worked last night. Not 10 hours ago, the audio worked. Can't win. So let's see if we can do this yet again without it crashing the stream. Because we need fun audio things. That's pushing the buttons is really the only reason why I do this. Come on, you can do it. It's gonna work now. There we go.
Yay! Hooray!
Okay. So let's see. So first off, how is everyone doing? It is another Saturday fun stream. Today is pretty exciting, I would say. The Prusa MK4 is here. It's been a while since we've had a Prusa Mark printer. 2018 is when the Mark III came out, so it's been a few years. They have upgraded a lot of things, doing things a lot differently now. I will cut it over to yet the second stream. We have a sidekick today. I will cut that over to my sidekick.
Hello, hello.
Live from the laundry room. My wife is here to chat with us, and you know whatever fun things come to mind.
You bet.
Yeah.
I'm here.
So she's over there.
I'm here to witness.
Yeah. So now everything's good. There are lots of people in chat. Hello, everyone. I see Andy's here. Maker Vikings here. Derek, John Strand, all kinds of cool folks. Everyone's saying hello to you.
Hello, all. I see you.
So, the Mark IV, so this is the fully assembled version. We've got a rocket on one side and a llama on the other side. I just realized that the box is actually different. So basically, you should be able to just get these out of the box. Something just happened.
We got
for the
$10.
post-stream adult beverage fund.
Adult beverage fund. Awesome. Thank you very much, Andrew, for the $10. Should be able to just get it out of the box, hit a few buttons, and it starts printing. So you know the score. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to check it out, make sure everything is in working order. And I'm sure there's all kinds of conversations that people would like to have about Prusa machines. This one was paid for by my own funds. No money has exchanged hands, and all opinions expressed are my own. Again, this is a large box, so I'm not even going to try to use the ceiling cam on this. We're just going to open it up and see what's going on.
Rock on, Chris.
Greg with the $2, thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg.
So there's that. We have our traditional flyer with a cheat sheet, some gummy bears, power cord, USB flash drive. I did order an extra sheet with this, so I should have the smooth sheet and the textured sheet, which you only get one unless you pay for it. Handbook, stickers, receipt with all of the pre-flight checks on it. All the usual Prusa stuff. It's packed pretty well. And it should just all lift out of here. Let's see. The complete kits, the assembled version, do come with filament. So we got a full spool there. I believe the kits now are only coming with samples.
Is there a satin sheet with it?
I got the PEI sheet. I did not get the satin sheet. By default, they still come with the one with the PEI sticker on it. Here's our accessories. And then I'm just gonna pull. I don't think this will clear.
For the Chris's Wife Fund. Love you
Yay.
guys.
Somebody's getting a new handbag.
Yay!
Yay!
Moto, thank you very much for the 5.
Thanks, Moto.
And here it is.
Oh, and all its Prusa glory.
They always put this foam around the print head. I mean, they've been doing that recently. Sometimes you kind of gotta raise these up to get that off of there. But it always makes you feel like it's like you wear it on your head in case you fall down a lot or something. I don't know. It's kind of like some sort of neck brace or something. I don't know. It's kind of funny to me. Let's see, let's see if Tom Gonzalez, let's see if that reads it for us. And let's set up. I'm gonna move this one. See it a little better. I got my friend, the skull here. Got all kinds of sidekicks today. Just get a good look at it here real quick.
It didn't read Tom Gonzalez. It says, "Good morning from San Jose." So, what are they, 2 hours behind us, Tom? Is that right? 2 hours?
Yeah, we guess so.
So, it's 9 o'clock. We're having
Uh,
coffee, watching a stream.
Sometimes those come through really late, so hopefully it will still pop up here in a minute.
Yeah.
So what are the big differences? So there's a print on the bed. I'm going to take that off. They did test it before it left. The big thing, so they're 32-bit now, right? They've gotten away from the 8-bit board.
Good morning from
There
San
we go.
Jose, California.
It's just really late. Thank you, Tom, for the 10. 32-bit board, and I'm just going to kind of move it around here. You do get touchscreen, it's color, but you still get the click wheel. I never use the touchscreen parts of these things. I still use the wheel. You have the neck extruder, I believe is the term they've coined for that. It's kind of an orbital type of extruder. You have multiple gears in there driving one large gear. That gets rid of a lot of problems. And this is a load cell set up for leveling, so it touches instead of having a sensor. Of course, you still have sensorless homing, all that good stuff. The frame is slightly different on the 4. It appears to be stamped, but it's going to add a lot more rigidity rather than the flat frame that the 3 had. And you get all the good stuff like Wi-Fi and Ethernet, all the fun connectivity stuff. And it being 32-bit, you know, Prusa does a lot of cool stuff with firmware, so they can take advantage of a lot more memory, so that they can add all kinds of cool things. So that's the Mark IV, all done. So let's see what we get. It's cast, not stamped. Thank you, Tom. I mix my words. Cast. Every time I see something like that, I always think of stamped concrete. We have a filament guide. We have a set of tools. They are giving you flat wrenches with these now. And they work, but they're not the best things in the whole world. Spool holder, pretty much the same. Part of getting old. It's going to get worse. Boy, don't I know it. I am kind of curious, though. Filament guide add-on. So I'm guessing this slides on your spool holder. And it's much more fun to guess than it is to look it up. Oh, and it's got a screw hole. Interesting. Well, we should probably know something about it anyway. There is a recent firmware update for these. That's one thing that's very common to Prusa. They will put something out to get it out because at some point you have to release it. You can't just keep tweaking it, right? That's how things work. What do we get? We got Galaxy Black. That's always a good color. They will release it, and then here come all of the firmware updates. But with Prusa, when they do make firmware updates, it's usually something you want to apply, because even late into the Mark III, Mark II, all of those ecosystems, they're still releasing firmware updates that improve the printer. So you definitely want to keep up with that. Yes, this is not a review unit. This was purchased by myself, just so that we could check it out together. And mind you, I'm going to take a look at the guide real quick for this, just for fun. Mind you, I have had this printer since Tuesday. So I have had the self-control to not open it almost all week, just waiting for this stream. So let's see what kind of information. I really haven't done any digging around. There's really not a lot to, I mean, you pretty much turn these on and start printing. So we've got, we don't have a whole lot of building or anything like that to do today. So we might as well take our time and check some things out here. Let's see what's in. So they give you a printed version of the handbook, but I think the handbook is still just more of a, like, this is how you 3D print type of guide. But I could be wrong. Oh, they're showing you nozzle swaps. They show you errors and things like that. What was that? Oh, they have a picture in here if you like flashing unofficial firmware. If you remember when they brought out the 32-bit board, you have to break a part of the board to be able to flash unofficial firmware. And that pretty much voids your warranty at that point. So you may not want to do that right out of the gate.
Somebody on here said he would have opened it and played with it and then resealed it. Nobody would have known. Nobody would have been the wiser.
I would have never got it back in there the right way. I should have I should have printed like the full bed volume and then put it back in the box and then pulled it out. Like I'd done Joe Prusa's head or something. That would have been funny. All right, so I'm not really worried about. So all the information's there. Firmware 6.1. So I guess that's the next question. Let's power it up and see what firmware is currently on it. Because again, I got this Tuesday. I don't know exactly. It says 6.1 came out 7 days ago. So let's see what version might be on it now. Okay. Let's power up. Beep bop boop. So I don't have any experience with the Mark IV, but I am gaining experience on the XL. And the XL uses the same screen and the same extruder. So I can speak a little bit to some of this stuff, but nothing specific to the Mark IV as of yet. So we will continue. What it wants us to do. Self-test will begin now. It's going to test fans. Shipyard.
I like that.
I'm currently printing Benjis right now. So what happened? We got gifted. Derek gifted us 5 memberships. So that's awesome.
Yes.
Few new members for Chris Shipyard and Jackie's Basement.
And he gave us
Yay.
$10
All right.
for
Thank
Jackie's
you.
basement.
For my basement. For my laundry room.
If this
Thank
was
you.
Jackie's basement, though, I'd feel really bad about the falling down the stairs thing. I have personally fallen down the stairs a few times. I've been here a long time, but I'd feel like I was kind of wishing you, ill harm with the logo at that point. Jackie's basement, I wouldn't want you to fall down the stairs. That might be a bad deal.
Yeah, it's funny when other people do it.
What? It's just your husband. It's fine. All right, so what did we... Okay, so if you've never done this before, so what it's telling you to do is and the first time I saw this, I was like, what? But it wants you to tap the load cell with your hand. And so instead of having a probe, an inductive probe or a BL touch that actually touches it, the nozzle touches it. And you can see the whole, it's a load cell, so when you tap it, it triggers. But they want you to calibrate it just to make sure the load cell works. So we'll hit it and it's going to count down 5. And then you'll see this up here when you tap it, you can see that grow. So load cell has passed. You never want to do that when it's hot. But that's how you calibrate the load cell. So just for anybody that's never done one of these before. Oh. So calibrating. It's doing its dance thing.
All right.
Move the basement upstairs? That'd be interesting.
Would certainly be easier for me.
Tapping the nozzle is definitely a mental hurdle. That's a great... Well put, Mike. Well put. So we're confirming centerless homing right now. And now it's going to go do some tappy around here to do the load cell stuff. Boop. All right. Now it's heating the bed, it looks like. So now we're going through all of the heating stuff. You probably can't see this, but it's going to do a nozzle check. It's preparing, it's heat break status, all that good stuff. It's just running. You can see the temperatures coming up down here. It's doing the bed and the nozzle. So we'll give that a moment. Chris's attic. It's hot in my attic.
It's dirty up there anyway. It's boxes. It's no fun in the attic.
It's like Indiana Jones' leap of faith. Steve Builds is here. Hey, Steve. We got to talk with Steve quite a bit at the Rocky Mountain Rip Rap Festival that that was 2 weeks ago now that we were there. It was a good time had by all. There was a whole lot of people at that festival. I think there was over 3,000 people over the 2 days. I can tell you Saturday was insane. I have pictures of just seas of people. Steve and his cat. Yeah, Steve and Charlie.
How's Charlie doing, Steve? I hope he's doing okay. It was really nice meeting you guys. That was fun being next to you.
We met a whole lot of cool people.
Yeah, we did. That was fun.
Let's see. Okay. So now we are filament sensor testing. Boop. So there's one inside, and you can't see what I'm pointing at. The filament sensor is inside here. You've probably seen it, but like on the XL, they have an external one, so you have 2, right? You got one on the side, but there is one inside the print head. So we're going to continue. And is filament in the filament sensor? It is right now because there's some that they cut off from the factory. So yes, it is. And we need to unload it. So we're going to unload. And we're going to pick PLA. Waiting for temperature. To Charlie the cat as in Primus. That is Tommy the cat. But good on you for being a Primus fan. Tommy the cat is my name. DJ is pro has subscribed. Thank you, DJ. You are a pro. So it kicked it out? Oh, no, it's thinking about it. There we go. Now it kicked it out. Okay. So filament is out. We can continue. Is filament in the filament sensor? No. And now we're going to insert some filament. And these sensors, by the way, if you happen to have to calibrate one, it will calibrate to whatever condition that it is currently in. So like if you said, hey, there is filament in there and there wasn't, it will calibrate opposite. So make sure you follow the steps as seen on the screen because it will work either way. So we are going to stick some filament in there. It says filament. So here you go. See, filament's in there. It's filament inserted. Press continue, and then you remove it to complete the calibration. And that's it. That's all you got to do. It's just making sure that you're getting an on-off signal. For that, it's getting all of your test information output here. Happy printing, and we're done. So now let's tell it to load some filament. Load filament, PLA. Make sure the filament is inserted. And I'm doing all of this because I'm making sure that it's going to tell you everything you need to know. Once it's been inserted, hit continue. It's going to start pulling it in. And if it's not up to the correct temp, it will actually wait a moment before it pulls it to the nozzle. But it is up pretty high. You can see it. It's set to 214 just from the calibration tests. It's pulling it through. Color is correct. Yes. Filament loaded. Done. All right. So the next thing I want to know, what firmware level are we on? You can go to info, firmware version 461. So this is the newest version. So we don't even have to flash that. Now, to flash one of these 32-bit boards, it's much easier. You don't have to go get a cable. You don't have to use Prusa Slicer. They have a BBF file on here. Just make sure it's the only BBF file. And when you boot up with this on there with a new file, it will automatically load that new firmware for you. You do have to say, yes, I would like to flash, but that's how you get new firmware on these. So from here, let's just see what's on the flash drive. It's going to load the last G-code file. It's a scraper. I don't need another scraper. So let's just see what's on it. Print. And let's see. Get you in there a little closer. So what do we got? So they were advertising the Mark IV. You know, when they were getting ready to release it, they were showing that they were printing like 20-minute benchies. So, but the firmware, as far as I know, a lot of the advanced features like input shaper are not in the firmware yet. I could be wrong. I'd have to read the release notes. But I don't think all of that is there yet. So I'm not sure if we're going to get a 20-minute benchy on this SD card or not. It would be pretty sweet, but...
If there's any justice, there is a 20-minute benchy on that card.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there is.
Eh.
We got some keychains. We've got Robo Alpaca. That's an 8-hour print. But I really feel the need that I need a Robo Alpaca. The filament guide is on here. I don't know, maybe we just start the Robo Alpaca.
Print the llama. Tom Llama says, print the llama.
I think we should just start it. I'm not going to wait 8 hours with you all. I'm sorry. That's a long day. But I think we should start the alpaca anyway. So let's go for that. There he is. So cute. And then we'll just hit print, and then I'll flip over so that we can see the first layer go down. So far, pretty much the printer has told us everything we need to do. And we should be ready to start printing, barring any sort of crazy glitch, anomaly, which does happen. Let's go manual focus. So it's doing its thing. So trying to explain some of all this goings on that this thing does. So it's testing, of course, it's testing for level, but it's also cleaning the nozzle. So it gets it hot, and then it takes a few steps to try to get those blobs off of the nozzle. So it'll touch and then go to the side a little to try to wipe it a bit. Just trying to give you a good first layer. And now it's only leveling the parts of the bed that it needs. So it knows how big that G-code file is. And so it only has to probe the points needed to do that file. So now, like right now, it's just doing the center section of the bed.
No silicone sock.
No silicone sock. And I didn't see one in here. I don't know, because the Mark III did not, the Mark II or the Mark III did not come with a silicone sock. I do not know Prusa's intentions for that, if they're going to do that on one of these. But they have traditionally not done it, which I always, like the first thing I do is go get a silicone sock and put it on there. Because they have saved me many times. But no, Prusa doesn't traditionally do it for some reason. There we go. It was thinking about something for a second. I was going to show you something amazing, but it's just doing its thing. So it made a prime line, and now we're printing the llama. Now, you will notice one of the biggest features of this extruder load cell setup is you don't have to adjust the first layer height. It's done. There's no manual adjusting. There's no tweaking it. It just knows. So that in and of itself is a huge improvement over the previous models. So, and it does work very well. I've had experience with it on the other machines, and it really does its thing. Now, there's nothing saying that you can't manually adjust it. If you don't think the layer height is right, you still have the option to hold the knob and get in there and make adjustments if you want to. But most of the time, it does a fine job. You can switch out to whatever sheet. You don't have to tell it what sheet you're going to use. You can go straight to satin, to textured, to PEI. It's going to take care of all that for you. You don't have to figure it out. So that's been, so far, that's like one of the biggest advantages of the newer machines. You don't have to mess with any of that stuff. So that's good. So what else? Now, so we're printing Robo Llama. My work here is done.
All right.
Has there been anything interesting in the chat that I've missed?
We're discussing socks.
Media Man 3D, that is Andy. We got to talk to Andy when we were at the Rocky Mountain Rip Rap Fest. If you don't know the Hero Me extruder designs, the Hotends fans and all the stuff that he makes, definitely go check them out because they're some of the best. Hopefully we'll be able to work with Andy on some sort of project for the channel coming up. I always like to check out the things that he makes. So yeah, so there's back and forth about silicone socks, right? So I have seen silicone socks fall off in prints. I don't know that I've ever experienced that. I've seen people like take bread ties, the wire out of a bread tie, and put it over their silicone sock and twist it down so it doesn't fall off. But so silicone socks kind of came out of the V6 model, and if you don't get the V6 set up just right, it'll leak, and sometimes just a little bit. But if you have the sock on there, the leakiness kind of holds the sock on permanently. So it's not a good thing, but you'll never get the sock off. So if something bad did happen, like you had collision, the sock would probably get pulled off in the destruction. But because of the design of the hot end, it kind of helped keep it on too. So take that for what it's worth. E3D did not design it that way, but Chris Riley does utilize it that way. Oh, do we Big Jano, we got interviewed by him while we were at the Rip Rap Fest. He put out a short the other day when we were on it. He's saying that we were discussing a hot button issue. I don't know what that was. Chunky versus smooth peanut butter. Now that is a hot button issue.
Chunky all the way.
See? You get these people in here that think chunky's where it's at.
I have very strong opinions about my peanut butter.
Do you really
I like chunky?
Do you really want chunkiness in your sandwich? I mean, you bite down on things.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm just gonna. I've had this debate way too many times. I'm not going to do it again today. So he's talking about silicone socks being a hot button issue. Oh, okay. I wish I had silicone socks. Creamy for the win. See? Are you bringing the claw to Murph? I don't know, wife. Are we bringing the claw to Murph? I'm kind of tired of bringing the claw to things. I love the claw, don't get me wrong, and I love for kids to play the claw, but kids are cleaning me out. I think I've made the claw too easy. I don't even know how many prizes we had. Here, I can go to full screen or side by side or something if we want to do chat about something. Where is there's that Nutella.
Somebody on. I guess it's you crazy, EU crazy, you crazy.
You crazy? I like it.
I do too. He says Nutella. I've never had Nutella. I don't know anything about it. Hey, Sergio's here.
Oh, awesome. Here, I'll put us all on screen.
Okay.
Printer, you and me. I don't know. We bought a lot of stuff for the claw machine. Well, that's the biggest crowd that I've seen at one of those things in 5 years. And it does. So, like, you talk to mom and dad, or let's face it, ladies, mostly just dad, and they're talking about 3D printing, and the kids can play the machine, and that's cool. I get a lot of that coin op. We should start taking coins. It's not so much the money, but maybe just to slow them down playing a little. Because it's, one after bang, bang, one after another. Got to get some more stuff. Maybe we should make it maker coin powered or something. Now, if Vintage PC is here, I will give him that. Crunchy is pretty awesome for peanut butter cookies. Can we have some peanut butter cookies? That'd be great.
You want the no bakes, or you want?
No, I want actual.
Like with the fork, where you mash them down with the fork.
Yeah, those kind.
All right. Yes, Joel. I'm wearing my black T-shirt. It was clean. I'm wearing my black T-shirt today. And my black sweater because it's chilly down here. Fill the claw machine with vegetables. That'll take care of that.
That'll show them. A Joel effect crowd on Saturday, pretty much. I don't know if I could probably I'll show you So we were on the corner. It's so if you've ever been to the old school building at Murph, the original building, it was just like that basically. It's a pole barn, concrete floor, just a big rectangle room. There really wasn't anything special about it. But we were in the corner, and Voron, we were like here, and Voron was right here. and they were doing giveaways, and there was a whole bunch of other tables around us. Micro Swiss was next to us. They were doing giveaways. But at one point, there was no walk. I couldn't even have went around the table. And at that point, I snapped a picture. And because I was seriously impressed with how many people were right there. And we were going to, before I knew the Mark IV was coming, we were going to subject you all to our slideshow, like old school, like your grandparents would do to you. But you got lucky, and there came a printer, so we're not going to do that to you. But take a look at this. This is exactly how it was all day Saturday. I mean, it's just, there was no room to walk, nothing. And like right in front there, you can see the people's heads. So I'm holding it way up, right? You can see the people's heads, but that's right where the claw machine was. And there was people standing in front of the table there, lined up to play the claw machine. But it was crazy in there. Unbelievable amounts of people. Now, Sunday wasn't near as busy. You could move around a little bit. But a lot of locals, I guess a lot of people just walked in. There's a lot of 3D printing action there in Colorado. Yeah, crowded, absolutely. Yeah, if you have any sort of affliction to crowds, that would have put you over the edge.
Yeah, you were better off behind your table. At least you could.
Well, and there were like a lot of the YouTubers. You know how it is when you go to these things. You want to talk to the guy that you want us to talk to on YouTube, mainly Stefan or Joel, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to, step behind my table so that you can breathe for a moment?" And so the Micro Swiss guys had another table that they put behind them just to kind of lay out all their merch. And so the folks would grab the corner of that table, like sitting behind where I was standing, so they could eat some food real fast. But it was just that packed. There was no place to go stand. It was nuts. Tripod Garage, he's here. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, 2019, John. They had the two buildings. Like you had to walk across a driveway to get to the back building, and they were all completely packed. That's the busiest probably I've ever seen any one of these things, but this was a close second for sure. Oh no, I didn't do filament guide on. I should have. Instead of here, I'm hitting things with it.
What is filament guide? What's that?
So they've tried to put this guide on the holder to keep the filament from hopping off the side of the spool. When the filament's this close to the print head, it tends to want to jump over the side of the spool, and then you get these really nasty tangles. So this is a fix for that, but I didn't put it on. I usually don't use the spool holder at all. I just did it because I usually do filament from the sky. But it has little, what look like PTFE inserts that help guide the filament. Chris Travis is here. Fellow FT6 owner, one of us. I think there's only like 10 of us in the whole world. I would love to know. John Folger isn't that hard to get a hold of, I don't think. I would love to know how many of those kits are actually out in the wild. Because I know a couple people that just come to my channel and say, "Oh my God, I need help with my FT6," because no one else has one. So there's a few of them out there, but I'd love to know the number. Jerry 3DHP is here. Hello, Jerry. Of course, the wrench that I need, I drug it off somewhere else, and it's not where I should be. Greg, do I have a Voron? I have a Voron switch wire over there on the shelf, and I have a Trident in a box over there that we really need to get to building. But yes. So the answer is yes, I have a couple.
Tom Llama is disappointed that you didn't almost lose an eye.
Well, now that's entertainment.
That's right.
I'd buy that for $1. Yeah, I didn't lose an eye. I didn't get shocked. I didn't get burned. Printers are boring now. They just work. I'm pretty confident it won't burn the house down. So, yeah. Probably kind of a boring stream, y'all.
See what Steve's asking?
Yeah, we're going to. Yeah, Steve, the Trident is Steve's baby. We're gonna live stream it if I can ever find a window, and that's if there's a downside to Voron kits, it's the build time. If you don't like building, don't even try. Don't even look at it. You can spend quite a bit of money on a Voron kit because there's a lot there, but you have to put a lot into build time. Plus, you have to print all the parts. So, if you don't want to do something like that, the Voron kits are not for you. And I do enjoy building. I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do. But it's really hard to build for 20 hours on a live stream. And when you break them up, like people come to the first one, but they don't come to the next 7. And I don't remember what the one was where we had like 7 parts. I don't remember what printer that was, but it gets to be quite the task when you have a build that big and you try to do it live.
Well, how long do you think it's going to take?
I don't even know. Steve might know.
Steve, you got an idea how long the Trident will take to build?
They do have like recommended build times, like such and such kit takes 12 hours, or like somebody said a 2.4 takes like 30. I don't remember. 10 to 12.
10 to
That
12.
sounds about right. So doing it during a live stream, 7 to 8. 2.4 is like 40.
7 to 8, 3 to 4 hour sessions. And Chris is doing it, so we're gonna have to extend that time.
Well, I have to like get sidetracked about every little
Right.
snippet of thing in the chat.
So go ahead and add an hour.
I have to find all the parts that I printed 2 months ago. So yeah, it's going to take more than that. I got like the Mark. By the way, the initial Prusa Mark IV, they were all fully assembled, but they did release the kit, so they're going to start shipping the kits, and that's what I was just getting ready to say. I got the Mark III down. I could build it from the kit in about 6 hours, and I think that's probably pretty slow for most users. But still takes some time while live streaming. Another dual build. There's Bob. Another dual build with Dave. I don't know if Dave would build anything with me ever again after that one. we really struggled on the Switchwire build. And I don't even, that's been so long ago now, I don't even remember exactly what happened. But I remember talking to him after the streams, like, this is going to take forever.
Speaking of Death Racers, Tripod's going to do another one for a new design for a Death Racer. And how about our little friend winning the Death Racer match there at Rocky Mountain? Wasn't that great?
Oh, it's awesome.
Oh, I'm so happy.
I wish I could have seen the
Her name's
race.
Zelda. Yeah.
I have a picture of her,
Yeah,
too.
if you have a picture of her, show a picture of her with her. I think
Now,
it might be in my Google Photos, too. There's a picture
I've
of her with
got
her
one.
Death Racer.
so I love all you guys. Now remember that. Remember that before I show this picture. You build awesome things. And they call them battle racers instead of death racers, I think, at Rocky Mountain. Whatever. Bill, thanks for the sub. You build these really cool things, and they're very menacing, and they're really tough, and you got these heavy-duty filaments, and you want to win, and you want to kill people. You know, I get it. And then in comes a 7-year-old girl. And she's got a unicorn on top that's driving. She's got rainbow treads, and I guess she was just tearing them up. I don't know how they did all that. I don't know if there was like multiple races, or how they did it. I didn't get a chance to get out there to watch any of them, but I guess she won, and it looks pretty good. So well done.
Yay,
Well done.
Zelda.
Well done.
That was so great.
Yeah.
She was really happy.
Oh,
too.
man.
That kid was over the moon.
I walked up to the table, and I know her father pretty well. And I walked up to the table, and I'm like, how'd you do? And she's like, I won. And she looks at me, she's like, you should take a picture of me and my racer. And I'm like, I should. You are right. So, yeah, awesome. That's the kind of cool stuff that I like to see. And I didn't get to see, I saw some video about the dragsters, but I didn't get to see the race. And those cars look really cool. So, yeah, it was a good time. I didn't get to socialize as much as I would have liked to, but
Yeah, that was kind of the only bummer. There was no time to talk, or
there never is.
I didn't have time to do fast fives. I didn't have time. I mean, it was just insanity,
Yeah. And she's promoting herself well too.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
That's one thing that kid knows how to do. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You know what? It's still, and we've talked about this on these streams before, but it's still kind of, it's weird being on YouTube and then going to these things and people come up to you and say, hey, I like your videos. And I'm like, okay, people watch these. That's cool. But it's when people come up and they want you to sign stuff. And, I'm like, my first question is anywhere? And like, you don't think I'm Jim from The Edge of Tech, right? So those are two of the first questions, because I talked to Jim a little bit. He was also very busy. I had one person think I was Jim, but that happens somewhat frequently, and somebody thinks that he's Chris, and that happens. But only one time at this one. But the number of things that I signed, I could have been signing checks for all I know. But it's like, sign this. I'm like, okay, if you really want me to.
Yeah, we had a few people want pictures too. That's good.
Yeah.
Jim did a nice job doing the MC there at Rocky Mountain too. I thought he did a nice.
He's got quite the radio voice.
He does.
And he's got a yell. That's one thing I don't have a yell. I don't have a good, like rock and roll, get ready to rumble yell like Jim does.
Yeah.
Stumpier? Well, that's not very nice at all, Tom.
Yeah, we're laughing.
He'd laugh too. Jim's a good guy.
Yeah.
Out of YouTubers, I really don't. Stefan was there. Joel was there. I talked to him for like 5 minutes, which is usually like a record. I don't get to talk to him much at all.
Well, the belle of the ball was Coco Press.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm so happy for Ellie.
Everything was Coco Press. Like, she had the best spot. She had all her stuff. It looked awesome. She had all the orange and everything was out. Everybody was super excited about it, and it just went on pre-order a couple of days before that. So, I mean, who doesn't want to 3D print chocolate? I mean, come on. We should have some post-breakfast gummy bears.
I did not get over and get a Benchy, and I meant to, because I think they were just setting out. I mean, I don't think that. Yeah, I mean, I think I could just grab one, but I just did not get a chance to get over there.
I didn't get one either.
We ran into her at the hotel and stuff. So.
Yeah, we talked to her a couple of times, but she was swamped.
Yeah, so I might try to catch her at Murph.
Yeah.
So busy. Kind of, I wouldn't say, I don't know, like kind of caught off guard. I was just not expecting the crowd at Rocky Mountain. I mean, you hear the numbers like, oh, we've got confirmed tickets and all the business, but you don't, I couldn't see it until I saw it. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, yeah, it's going to be busy.
Well,
and then
I heard the number 1,800. And if you think 1,800 tickets throughout, and most people are going to come Saturday, throughout the day, that doesn't seem like that big a deal. But I swear, within an hour of them opening the door on Saturday, there was just people flocking in there.
Yeah, it was nuts. Music Dad wants to know if I'm gonna get a cocoa press. I'm thinking about it.
We've discussed it.
Kind of fun.
We've discussed it.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. You know, I cook and I make confection. I'll make bread and stuff, but I'm not really into. I'm a bread maker. I'm not necessarily a cake or a cookie, or I mean, I can and I will, but I don't really. I don't have a very steady hand, so I mean, like I could do the cocoa press. I just don't know what I would do with it. It'd be really fun though. I could make stuff and just eat it. Yeah, I was thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a good time. With things like that, it's kind of like resin printing, honestly. Like the first thing I think of is like, okay, it's cool. Like we just did the stupid. We printed with Cheese Whiz, for a little while, and that was like this huge disastrous mess. And I just did that for a day. And I've done resin printing over the years, and it is a mess if you don't have the right setup for it. So the first thing I think of when you print chocolate is like, okay, we're gonna print some chocolate. Then what? Is it dishwasher safe? Is it?
Well,
I
that's
mean,
right. We talked about that.
How do you clean up from this thing?
Yeah, how often do I need to clean it?
I think it would be like a one. And remember, we were gonna do pancake bot.
We talked about
that was the other thing. It's like, now what? Okay, I made some pancakes. I made this giant pancake. I'm never gonna eat it.
Yeah, eat the pancakes.
So I don't know. Eat your failures.
I do like that.
Yeah. Eat all your support material.
I think that's just good life advice. Eat your failures.
Eat your failures. Eat it.
When I was doing the lunch lady thing and I'd have little ones come in and be upset, I would just give, here, have a cookie. Eat your feelings. I am not the one you want to come to. Well, you do, but I will. I'm not going to help. I'm just going to make it worse, I think. But have a cookie.
Yep.
Eat your failure.
All right, let's see. Let's flip you over to up close and see what's happening here. We are making some llama legs. Let's put it over here so you can see better.
All the parts that touch the chocolate are dishwasher safe.
Excellent.
So that's nice. It wouldn't be that big a deal to clean it out anyway.
So the print's looking good.
Good.
That's in all fairness though, the Galaxy Black makes pretty much everything look good. You can have a horrible print in the Galaxy filament. It's just flat enough and has just enough sparkle in it. It really makes a nice print. Oh, ruining it.
Hot chocolate bombs. See, you guys gotta stop talking about chocolate.
Hot chocolate bombs, yeah.
Have you had? We've had those before.
I have witnessed the chocolate bomb, yes.
I'll put one of those and then pour hot coffee over the top. It is delicious.
Llama Loops. I don't even remember the story about Llama Loops. Somewhere somebody found a box of cereal, because Tom Llama. Found a box of cereal that was called Llama Loops. I don't know if it's like a Dollar General thing or like a discount cereal of some kind.
Was it in the shape of a llama?
No, I think they're just like Fruit Loops, but it's instead of Fruit Loops, it's Llama Loops.
Oh.
And there's a llama on the box. But
yay.
somebody needs to send him. Whoever makes that needs to send him a whole crate of it. Upgrade kit to the Mark III to the Mark IV. Yes. And that's something that Prusa has done. And like I am totally aware of our landscape, right? I mean, I see the stuff that goes on. I see the people that want to complain about one manufacturer or the other. And I am a Prusa fan. There's no denying that. I have a lot of machines. They've done really well for me over the years. If it wasn't for the stability of some of the Prusa machines, I probably wouldn't get a lot of the projects done, because most of the time they just work. Every machine's going to have problems, but I get a lot done with Prusa machines. That's all there is to it. And I've paid for every one, by the way. So, I mean, I've shelled out a lot of money because of the consistency. And so when I say things and I'm showing Prusa printers, I'm just their customer. I'm not, you buy whatever gets you into 3D printing, do it, because it's an amazing way to do things. It's unbelievable. But anytime Prusa does something, they try to give you some sort of path that you can go on. So they are doing, and I wouldn't say that like the Mark II to the Mark III was all that great of an upgrade path. It was somewhat expensive, but there was a lot of changes there. In between 12 volt and going to 24, the removable sheets, the filament sensor. I have some 2.5s. It was definitely worth the upgrade. But with the 3 to the 4, they're going to let you do like a 3.5, which gets you halfway there. And then there's like a 3.9 upgrade kit that does pretty much everything. So the kits will be available. It would be pretty interesting if we took the time to take one of the older Mark IIIs and walk through all the steps it would take to get it to a 4. So that's good. Prusa's not really a company they're not one to say, oh, here's something for free, go make a video on it. They did it a little more in the past, I think. They don't do that now. So I think going to them and saying, hey, we need an upgrade kit to do this video. I don't know if that would work, but I can try. Never hurts to ask.
Make a log MK4. Log. Suppose you could print the frame.
A lot of people ask me about log. It's like, well, what are you going to do with it now? And I think it's more of like a museum piece at this point. Why? And I got a lot of people coming up to the table. I brought log to Denver, or don't say Denver, Loveland. Northern Colorado people don't like it when you call it Denver.
That's right.
Rules are rules. I should follow them.
Chris, in a stream you built an enclosure. When asked about MK4, you practically predicted everything that would now become a MK 3.5. Excellent prescience.
Yeah, well, Derek, again, thank you for the 10. Much appreciated. But I mean, so, and we've talked about that as well. It's like, okay, what are they, we try to, we try to say, what's going to be the next thing? We try to get it. And we've been talking about that with a lot of folks. I'll get back to the Wilson subscribe. Thank you, Wilson. I'll get back to remind me of the wood frame story about people asking about that. But we've talked a lot about what's next on these things. Like we're at a point on a hobby-based 3D printer. We can keep throwing hardware at it, but it's not going to make it any better necessarily. You're not going to get more print quality. You're not, the glue gun, the advanced glue gun is at its peak, right? At the end of the day, we're still melting plastic and squirting it out. So we start through these upgrades, and companies are trying to advance this thing. The print quality is probably not going to get all that much better than it is today by just throwing hardware at it. So now we're kind of on the software side with things like input shaping. And that's a huge deal. And this happens in every technology area, right? But so we try to predict, what could you do? Well, you take the Mark III and you start thinking about it. It just has to be easier to use, right? So they'll probably put a touchscreen on it. They'll make it 32-bit. We're just trying to go through these things, and that's pretty much what they did. Now, the next extruder, there's been many designs for planetary gears extruders out there. I think it makes a lot of sense. I didn't necessarily think that they would go with a load cell type extruder like they did, but I think they've also done that to propel multiple ecosystems, not just the Mark IV. So that was probably a design decision so that they could use the same setup on multiple 3D printers. So, but it's funny that you mentioned that. I would love to go back and watch some of those videos and like, what did we talk about? What was the Mark IV going to be? But anyway, so there's that. And what I was going to say is people would come up to the table, and these are folks that have no idea that I'm on YouTube. They don't know who I am. They would come up to the table and say, so what's the advantage of using the wood on the frame? And, that's a legitimate question, and but it was kind of hard to explain, like, there is zero. I guess, like, if you looked at it in terms of resonance or whatever, but if you've seen log up close, the frame isn't even flat. It's really bowed. I cut it with a jigsaw by hand. It's not well done whatsoever. It's a throwback for the fans, right? We've been using it for so long. That's why I bring it everywhere. People have seen it on the channel, but people actually are concerned, like, man, I think a wood frame would be good. I'm like, well, maybe in 2015 or 16, it was a great idea because the frames were kind of hard to get. But that's kind of a thing of the past. So where that brings me into the conversation is I really don't know what else to do. It's just kind of sitting here as a relic. It still works. It still prints. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, there's not going to be a lot of people cutting wood frames nowadays.
Somebody asked if Joe signs his printers, and I was thinking about what printer is that? Is that the anniversary edition?
That's the anniversary edition.
Anniversary.
Yes.
So Joe came by and signed your anniversary Prusa.
This one came from Prusa Signed. All of those were signed. But the one that was on the shaky table that we had at Murph, he did cruise by and sign it. So yes, he still does that wherever he's at if it doesn't have a signature on it. Everyone wants a Top Fuel dragster for a printer. I know. And that's fun. That's fine and all. But there are drawbacks to everything. I don't know. I would like to have parts faster. Yes. Parts faster are good. There are things like when you start to fix things in software, there's always a trade-off, and you have to do it correctly, right? You can't just throw it on there and say, okay, we need it to go as fast as possible, because depending on what you're printing, like if you want, because let's face it, these machines for what they are extremely accurate. Try to go like turn a piece of wood or and try to get it as accurate as a printed part would be. Try to cut a 90-degree angle and have it as accurate as a printed part would be. They're really good. And that's what I try to trend for, right? I want them to stay good. I don't want the speed magic to affect the quality of the tool, basically. And that's how I try to put it. It's nothing against, anybody. People are mentioning Bamboo. Creality's got machines now that are lightning fast. And it's nothing against what these companies are trying to do, because there is a market for that. Absolutely. It's just, you know how it is. It's only $19.95. Call now. It kind of feels like that kind of thing. But, that's just me. Yellow pine to white oak. There you go.
There's an upgrade.
It would be pretty cool to have like a really exotic wood of some kind.
Not around here.
No. If you could find some, you couldn't afford it.
Right.
The steel would be cheaper than a piece of wood. Yeah. Something nice. As seen on TV, absolutely. Speed race to the bottom. I think we need to coin some sort of term for all of this, because anybody that's been around this for a while, we were at a race to the bottom. How cheap can we see a 3D printer be turned out? I have personally bought and used a 3D printer that only cost $99, and it did work. Not well, but it did work. But we're over that now. Now we're trying to print the fastest Benchy, and I'm all for that. But it's a different game at the moment. But we'll see. It changes fast. Derek sent us a link.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. It's a link to... here's the video 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll have to go back and check that out.
Called The Shot.
On YouTube... Boris subscribed, thank you. And David, I probably missed you. Thank you for the sub. I guess on YouTube now, I haven't tried it. Chuck was telling me that you can just take an existing video and then clip a 1-minute section and turn it into a short. So maybe we could take like that section of that live stream and turn it into a short or something.
Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll look into it.
So he's saying he was trying to go back and like, revive some of his older videos just by making them shorts. So maybe that's something we should try.
Yeah. It's very quiet printer.
It is very quiet.
Noisy.
The noise cancellation on the microphones does kind of hamper that. Like you can't get a good aspect of how loud these are, but it is definitely quieter than the Mark III. And something we haven't done in a long time is race the printer. We haven't done a 3D printer drag race in forever. If you remember years ago, the Mark III had just come out, or I had just got one. I didn't get one for like 8 or 9 months because notorious shipping lag. But I raced the Mark II and the Mark III, and the Mark II just killed it. It beat it as far as speed went. So maybe that's something we should do. We should start the 3D printer races again.
That's kind of fun.
It's fun. It's easy to do. People like to...
Silly.
Anything where people can start complaining at me in the comments, they love.
Yes.
So and those are definite ones that they like. They like to comment on. Have I seen the Creality K1? I have not seen it in person. I've seen a lot of action of it online, but I really don't know much about it. 3D Chameleon on a Clipper build. I have not. I know that Bill Steele is the Chameleon guy. Bill was setting the bamboo printers up at Rocky Mountain with Chameleon on them. And bamboo does run Clipper in a certain fashion. But I haven't had any. That's another project that I've been meaning to do. Get the Chameleon going again, but I haven't seen one on Clipper yet. I don't care for shorts either. A lot of people, you either really like YouTube shorts or you hate them. I don't get anything from them, but some people really dig just flipping through that stuff.
I'll sit and watch TikTok and YouTube shorts for hours.
Yeah, I don't
Get caught in the loop.
I don't get it, but whatever.
Short stories.
Yeah. I call them sharts. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Fly High FPV, you were very welcome. I'm glad that I could help you compile Marlin. It's still a thing. Marlin's still out there. A little over an hour on our print. Is there anything else cool that I can show you from Rocky Mountain?
Some windmills, perhaps. I got lots of those. We took a pretty kind of neat picture of a dirt devil. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
You ever seen one? That's kind of a Midwestern thing. Little dirt tornado in the middle of a warm, sunny day.
Yeah, the drive across Kansas is always fantastic. Kansas is great. No, I really don't have anything super interesting on my feed.
Check my Google Photos if you feel like it. There's a few in there that might be interesting.
Oh, I'd have to like.
But if it's too much trouble, don't
Get
worry
the-
about it. There ain't nothing on there.
I have to get the super secret password and.
No, don't worry about it. It's nothing good. Windmills and well, we did put something out on Twitter with the largest easel painting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I made him do it.
It's so Skulda is here. Hey Skulda. He's old school 3D printing. I haven't had a lot of experience with the Manta boards. I do have one, and I've messed around with it a bit, but not a ton. But if you want to chat on the side or something, like if there's something that I can get, like if there's a config or something I can help with, let me know, because I can just get the board out and we can work on it. But no, I don't have a lot of experience with it. No, driving through. So living in Kansas City your whole life, you always have the chance of driving through a state that has a lot of cornfields, and Kansas is probably the biggest. Nebraska, I think, even Nebraska has more than Kansas does in it. So as a child, we drove through Kansas a lot, but talking with people at the Rip Rap Fest, people on the west side of Kansas, it's very common to come to Denver. It's a couple hours away, but it's very common to come to Denver to do things in northern Colorado and whatever. So there was a lot of folks from western Kansas. And there were two gentlemen that walked up, and I'm always, hey, how you doing? Where you from? What have you been doing? Are you local? All that good stuff. And they're like, we're from Goodland, Kansas. And Goodland, Kansas is, I don't know, maybe 75 miles from the border, 50, maybe less. It's pretty close to the Colorado border. And we had just been through there, of course. And it's like the last town that's even close to sizable. Maybe 5,000 to 10,000 people, maybe at the most. So if you needed to stop before you got to Denver, Goodland isn't a bad place to stop. But when they came up and said they were from Goodland, I'm like, oh, the place with the giant painting. And you should have seen their eyes light up. And they turned to each other like, he knows about Goodland, Kansas. I'm like, that's all I know about Goodland, Kansas, my friend. But that's just, it's kind of funny to get to talk to folks like that. Because really, there's not a whole lot out there in western Kansas.
No, it's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Pretty flat. It is the plains, the Great Plains.
It's true.
Somebody, I saw it on here, was asking about the import tax. Did you see that comment?
No, I can scroll back.
DHL charged us. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm correct when I say this, but DHL sent us an invoice. So when you order it, whoever's bringing it to you is gonna charge you.
Foreign foreign exchange tax. I don't remember what they call it.
They sent it in an email.
Prusa, the big stuff coming from Prusa. In fact, I think the most expensive one I had was out of E3D, coming straight from England. It was very high. But the Prusa machine, these cost around $1,100, I think. $1,150, something like that. They shipped it, and then we got hit with a fee for $53, I believe, is what it cost. So, yes, there is some foreign tax that has to be paid on top of that, or DHL will not release it. So, good times. The private plane crash? No, that's horrible.
What is that?
Right, I guess they had a private plane crash there in Loveland when we were there.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, so Denver, Chicago, we go to Omaha. Kansas City goes to Omaha a lot. Like, that's a quick trip for us. That's 2.5 hours. That's easy. Like, so if you want a fast weekend, you can run up to Omaha.
Tulsa,
yeah. Like, yeah, these are all within. Dallas is about 10 hours away. So these are all within the,
not
8-hour drive in any given direction.
Not a lot of Texas trips, really.
No, not really.
It's way too far.
Dallas is about that's about it. I mean, like, Houston's 16 hours away, too far.
Yeah, and growing up, I really, because like, in the Midwest, Midwest, it's really affordable to live here. And there's a lot of blue collar folks in the Midwest. So I grew up, my dad was, part of the Steelworkers Union, right? So, I mean, he worked really hard for a living, and most folks in our neighborhood did. So you never really heard of people going on grand vacations when I was a kid. They didn't go to the Bahamas. They didn't even go to Chicago. Chicago is super expensive, right? You don't go to Chicago. So like going to Denver, that's like this huge metropolitan grand place compared to the other places that you would drive from Kansas City. So it was always like, Denver was always like the big city compared to, and St. Louis is fair, is fair size. Going to St. Louis for the weekend was not unheard of. But yeah, it always seems so much bigger and faster in Denver than it did. You know, this is coming from a 10-year-old child, but
we were discussing when Tanner and I were talking about when I lived in Indiana. There's cornfields, tall ones on either side of the road, and you're driving down the cornfield. This was right when like that movie Signs came out, you know, with the spooky alien cornfields, and just it's spooky. It was, but oh, that's it, Midwest.
10 years old on a good day.
Did you read this? Quick question. I'm only familiar with Prusa Mini, which have a PTFE tube that leads the filament to the heat break.
Yes.
With the MK4, where the filament goes into the heat break? What's there?
Yeah. Something PTFE plastic, or is it something else? Okay, so the Mini, you're right. It has it's a Bowden style extruder. So you have drive gears over here, and then you have a hot end over here. So you're driving it through that tube, and this is just for everyone's information. You're driving it through that tube down into the hot end remotely. These machines, like this one, Mark III, they're direct drive. So they have the extruder gears right above the hot end. No tube is involved. Now, well, I won't say no tube. Sometimes there is a guide tube at the top, but that's just to help you guide the filament into the break. The new ones, like the Mark IV and the new nozzles coming out, they're actually a really long stainless steel tube. They're about this long, and then there's a break on the end of it that goes into the heat block, and then the nozzle goes underneath that. So that's the divided part, and of course they didn't give me. In fact, let me get one. I'll just show you. I'll show you what we're talking about, because this is important, because this is the new way that Prusa does things, and it is an improvement, I would say. But can I find one? That's the real question. Do you remember where I put that box, you know, with the things in it? That one box? I think it was brown.
Check on the shelf.
Okay, here we go. This is good enough. So, Prusa has gone another route with nozzles. They're easily E3D V6 compatible. So backwards, you could use some of your parts from your Mark III on your Mark IV because of the way they've done it. But, and I'll just switch to this view here. This is what the new nozzles look like. So you've got, and it's not going to focus because it's manual. So you've got the stainless steel tube that goes all the way down to the nozzle. This is all one piece. And this whole set just slides into the fixture, and then you thread it into the heat block. So it's all one. There's no PTFE liner. It's all metal through and through. But it also gives you the benefits of bimetallic. So the stainless steel isn't going to heat up. It's going to focus all of the heat on the nozzle where it should be. So this is the new ecosystem they're going towards. So when you say something like PTFE, let me try to focus that back in. On these machines, Mark II, Mark III, Mark IV, all of them have some sort of all-metal hot end, but the newer ones have this style nozzle. So it is a little bit different ecosystem now. And I can tell you, these are 1,000 times easier to change. I haven't looked up the cost. Now, I don't know what one of these costs. You know, a nozzle, an E3D nozzle is probably, I don't even know what they cost now, less than $10 or something. But this replaces the brake, the nozzle, all of it. And they are 1,000 times easier to change than a V6. You can do it cold. You slip it out, you put another one in, you're done. It's definitely an improvement, I can tell you that. So there you go. There's a very long-winded explanation about PTFE tubes. There is not one involved here. And your temperature limit, if you want to continue on, your temperature limit with something like this, it's really about what the heat block is made out of, mostly. I believe these are still all aluminum, so that's really only good to, I wouldn't push it over like 290, 295. 300 probably is your mark, but aluminum gets a little around that temperature.
How long did it take you to get this when you ordered it? A month?
I ordered it the day it came out, but it wasn't. I didn't order it until like 2 in the afternoon, and I got it Tuesday. So I don't remember when it came out, but it was at least 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah,
I would say.
I think it was about around a month, maybe a little longer.
Yeah.
But now I would bet that you could order them. It's probably slowed down some, right? So you could probably order and get it a little faster than that now.
Yeah.
But it's still coming from Eastern Europe, so
yeah,
it's gonna take a little bit.
And this is always what happens with the Prusa stuff.
Yeah.
But now
April Fools. Sergio says that they think
that's
around April 1st. That sounds about right.
It was within a couple of days there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, right at a month.
Sergio, are you coming to Murph?
Yes, too.
I hope so. I hope to see you.
Ordered on March 29th, showed up on May 5th. That's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which isn't terrible. I mean,
that's way faster than the Mark III.
What you're getting and where it's coming from,
But from what they say, like, because we went through all the supply chain and all that, from what they say, they've got a lot of spare parts and all that good stuff on hand. And they are already starting to make the kits. So that's a good sign. So hopefully they'll be able to keep up and they'll keep putting these things out. Dave Wilson is here.
Hi, Dave.
Yeah, way, way faster than pre-ordering the XL. Yeah, and the XL, I mean, that's a completely different animal. And they are shipping some of the single-headed ones, but there's a lot going on there. Also, the price point. I mean, you can drop a lot of money on an XL if you want all 5 heads and all that stuff. It's probably like close to like $5,000 or something by the time you get all the heads and everything. So yes, you're going to get a 4 way faster than the XL.
Oh, he's going to fly this time. If he comes, he's going to fly this time.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not going to get Revo changing speed unless you put a heat block on every nozzle. So I'd have to look at this. I don't have a lot of experience with the 4 yet. So I don't know exactly the process on one of these. I think it's the same. But you can pull the whole thing out there's just 2 cables you can undo, pull the whole thing out, switch the nozzle, and then push the whole thing back. I'm sure they have a guide online that shows how to do it or whatever, but it really is pretty fast. Now, I don't have any experience with the Revo, honestly. I have one, but I've never installed it on anything. The Revo seems a little delicate to me, like in some aspects, where this is just basically a nozzle with a steel tube on it. So I don't know. I can't comment on that because I don't have any experience with Revo. Yeah, there's Gusner. Hey, Gusner. Yeah, you can just pull the whole thing out. It's pretty easy to do. Scott is here. Hey, Scott. He says the firmware upgrade with input shading should be coming real soon now. I hope so. And somebody was mentioning that they've been working on this over a year. There is on these frames, there are marks on it where they've got some dates. So they've definitely been working on the Mark IV design for a while, but you know, that's very typical. I always tell this story, but that's how, you know, that's how Prusa does things. They actually did a really good job of keeping this under wraps all of that time while they were developing it. But when I got my Mark II, all of the parts had this really weird texture on them because I was used to all the parts being smooth. You know, you print them on a smooth sheet, the parts are smooth, and all of them had this really weird texture. And I'm like, this was like at least a year before the Mark III came out. And I actually got on the forums. I'm like, what are they printing on? You know, why are these textured? What do they print on in the Prusa farm that makes this texture? And the answer I got back was from somebody I know now in the Prusa community. I didn't know them then. I know them now. He came back and said, it's probably something they're working on and they'll release it in due time. Well, here comes a year later and they released a textured sheet. And that's what, you know, now we all know and love the textured sheet. But that's what it was. You started seeing them use that on their parts in their farm over a year before you ever knew anything about it. So it's just, I don't know, it's always kind of interesting for me to see how they develop stuff like that. You know, like they're already trying it in their farm. So, oh, that's pretty cool. This fly buzzing around here.
It's driving me
he's
crazy.
A dead man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying not to freak out. It's making me nuts.
Who is the guest today? This is my lovely wife. She's my sidekick.
Yeah, hello.
How would you do it? Honestly, with these machines, this one appear, and that's something I noticed when we were working on it today. The input for the filament appears to be threaded, so you could probably put a coupler or something on there and run a tube just as a guide tube, not as a actual Bowden tube, just as a guide. And if you had I mean, as long as the arc wasn't too sharp, you could run the filament from anywhere. It really wouldn't matter. I've done some very creative filament management on these machines before. So yeah, you could put the spools underneath and just have a tube that fed it in. You could, you know, make a little printed part where it attached here on the top, kind of a reverse Bowden thing. It wouldn't be hard at all. Steven Lightspeed is here. What's up, Steven? Andy's back.
Andy's back. Hey, Andy.
I am her sidekick. That's probably more fitting. I just listened from a name. From Perth. What time is it in Perth? Aren't they like exactly 12 off? So it's like 1 in the morning. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Gustner is wise. Gustner is wise, I tell you. I don't know if I said Alan's was a sub. I don't know if I said hey to Alan. Thank you for the sub. 134. Well, thanks for being up.
Yeah, staying up late. We don't make it much past about 10:30 around here. That's a big night for us. Is staying 10:30.
Gusser's married, so he knows how it is. There you go. From Malaysia, also. Retro Boy Advance.
3 o'clock in the morning in South Australia.
Where can I find the printing 3D model and what is the model name? Which model? Like the llama, the Robo Llama? If you tell me which one, I'll try to find it for you. Almost bedtime. Oh, Mike's got a link.
Mike got one for us.
What is it? What are we talking about?
Sure. Oh, the llama.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the llama.
Thanks,
Mike.
Yes, thank you, Mike. best moderator in the business, Mike
He
Fancy.
is.
USB powering the electronics when the printer is off. Conflicting power supplies? That's not something very common that you see on 3D printers anymore. It used to be very common that if you like left your Raspberry Pi plugged in, the screen would still be powered or the board would still be powered. But the regulator on the board, depending on the regulator, if you have a decent regulator, there's not going to be any issues there. But most of the, I wouldn't even say higher end, but more well-built boards aren't going to allow you to do that anyway. So you wouldn't have a conflict there. But most of the time, it shouldn't be an issue. It should be able to regulate that well enough. Oh, the SV04 does it. Okay. Yeah, so I know some of the older Creality boards did that, but it should be okay. You shouldn't have an issue one way or the other.
I don't think input shaping yet on the MK4. Is that correct? Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. And there might be an alpha version out there. I don't know. I haven't been following the dev on their firmware, so they might have stuff out there on GitHub already that you could try. But no, it is not enabled yet. Great to see you live. I've been watching your channel for years from London. Thank you very much for joining us live.
Well, I wouldn't say that I'm into 3D printing. I like the fun stuff it makes me. I don't know. I know enough. You know what I mean? I know enough. He talks about it, and I pay attention.
It's a family business.
I don't have my own printer. If
3D printing, the actual printing part is kind of a side effect now. It's really, I mean, we do it, but it's mainly all the other stuff that goes around it nowadays. Thanks for coming, Derek. Thanks for all the support. We appreciate it. Does Octoprint only run on Raspberry Pi boards? Octoprint will run on anything where you can run Python. It's completely Python based. So you can run it on any virtual environment. Windows, Linux. You could probably run it on OS 400 if you really felt like it. But anywhere that Python could be run, you can install Octoprint. Raspberry Pi is by far the easiest platform, though. Chris Galata's here. What's up, Chris?
Dave Wilson wanted to know what my favorite infill was. It's Jelly Bean.
Jelly Bean.
It's the sexy one. I like
it. James, thank you for the sub. And if you don't know, that's an inside joke. Gyroid. When Gyroid came out, we were talking to Keith. Tinkers, you might know him. He's been around for a long time in the 3D printing community. But we did the Fast 5, and one of our questions was, "What's your favorite infill?" And he says, "Oh, Jelly Bean." and we're like, "Jelly Bean?" He's like, "Gyroid, Jelly Bean." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So now, favorite infill is always forever Jelly Bean.
Sure, what, Jackie, pick one of your printers. All belong to us or not? What?
I'm guessing that means there is no your. It's all us.
Well, that is true.
It's true. It's true. It's only mine when it's broken.
Yeah.
Custom 4, swap it out for some awesome colored parts. It could happen.
Jackie. My name is Jackie, by the way. 75 keg 75.
Yeah, well, yep, not the kit. I couldn't wait for the kit. The kits were like weeks out, and I had to have one right now. So no kit. But that's not saying there won't be a kit sometime. You know how I like to build the kit.
We gotta knock out that trident, I think.
I know. It's like weighing on me to build this thing, and once you get into it, it's fine, right? Like you're building, everything's good, but it's like getting started. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that. Now I got to get all these pieces printed. I got to open these boxes. I'm way too. I've been very spoiled, but I have to do that. Yes. Repetier Host, yeah, they're still kicking. It's still a pretty good alternative. Honestly, the Octo Everywhere plugin with the remote access, that's really changed stuff. I think, like the way that I use Octoprint, just having that free and you can just check on stuff from your phone wherever you go, that really makes things a lot easier. So all of the support around Octoprint has basically kept me using it. But I mean, there's things like Prusa Link now, right? All these printers have Ethernet or Wi-Fi connectivity, so you throw them down, you can monitor them with the cloud service. But yeah, Repetier Host, I've used it over the years. All of it still works. They're all good choices. Awesome. Shopping around. Scott's shopping around for a new apartment.
Oh, Austin. I hear that's a really great town.
I've never spent any time in Austin.
There's music there. Like, the music's supposed to be really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, though, we're not in the 8-hour driving radius of Austin, so it's not really on the radar as far as road trips go. We'd have to fly. Check it out.
We went to San Antonio a couple years ago. It was fun. It was good.
Yeah, San Antonio. I like the Riverwalk. That's fun. We had a nice time.
Mm-hmm.
SeaWorld. Went to SeaWorld.
Prusa Link. Yeah, there's definitely still Prusa Link is definitely still in the rollout phases. That's Prusa Link, Prusa Connect. You can definitely feel the beta-ness of the whole thing because of the Mark III. So, the Mark III, you would have to really do it well, to have a nice clean install, you'd have to have a Pi Zero. And we all know about Pi Zero, or any Pi. You might as well trade them your soul, because you could get it would be cheaper than trying to get a Raspberry Pi. So that's what's kind of holding that back, I think, because of all the Mark IIIs that are out there. Especially when we have all these crazy people doing multiple instances of Octoprint on things. You can do multiple Mark IIIs, but now that the newer printers are coming out, the XL and the 4, you'll start to see it get adopted more. Prusa Connect and Link will start to get adopted more because all of them are ready. Even the Mini has an Ethernet jack on it, but you would have to add some sort of Wi-Fi module to use that. So it's not really ready out of the box for Wi-Fi. But as we spin more into the new 32-bit state, Prusa Connect is definitely going to come up. It does give a lot of cool stats and graphs and things, though. It's kind of nice. Bring the kit to Murph. We could do that.
That's not a bad idea.
We could just be the build table.
There you go.
We were giving away an Ender 3 one year at Murph. And the Ender 3 is like a really easy build. There's like 4 or 5 screws. And I was really struggling to get that done in a crowd. So I enlisted 2 of the young kids, Thomas and Bennett, came over and finished up the install for me. So I can only imagine how a Trident would go. Those Voron guys, though, they bring those kits. You see them set down and just start whipping these things out. I was watching them kind of just once in a while. I would look over at the Voron booth, and these 2 guys were just hammering out this build. And it's very, they have a lot more experience with those models than I do. But it's always difficult to try to get anything done other than talking to folks at any of these things. But it might be entertaining. We probably take home just as many parts as we put together, though.
Andy said we could stay with him. if we go to Smurf.
Oh, all right. Excellent. Let's see what else. Senseless homing question for Chris and Jack. Do you want to field this one?
What do we got here?
Can you apply senseless homing using applicable 2209 thermodynamics to a small scale project, i.e. a stepper motor that functions to sense a hard stop?
Oh, I got this one. I'm just kidding. I don't have it. I don't know.
No, please jump in there.
Yes. No. Tuesday.
4.
Pickle.
You can, you can use, so senseless homing is 100% on that chip, right? You can use that and it's done within that processor. But without like extensive firmware behind it, I don't know how you would configure it. So anytime I want to do something specific like that, I always start with Marlin, right? Because Marlin has all of that stuff built in. And then you just start tearing it down from there. Like you take off all the heater support and all this other stuff that if you're building something that's not a 3D printer, you don't need. So it's still a great way to get things done like that. You can build very specific things just by, going backwards through some of that firmware. And you can still use things like senseless homing with that driver. So yes, it's very doable. It just depends on what kind of firmware or controller that you would have to support the firmware that was needed to get those things done. I don't know of a better suit, because all I know is 3D printing, right? I mean, everything's a 3D printer to me. I don't know of a more suitable project. I'm sure there is one. Like Trinamic might be able to point you to one. But a more suitable project just for driving motors, or even like a light program, just some sort of C program that you could compile. Definitely possible. It's just maybe not all that easy.
Tom Llama says the correct response is toasted pickle sandwich with mayo, potato chips, and popcorn. Sounds good.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, actually not bad. Have you seen those sandwiches? It's just a giant pickle carved out.
I have. I don't know if I could do the whole sandwich. I mean, it sounds like a good idea.
I think I could go like deviled egg, eat it like, you know what I mean, where just half. But I don't know about getting down on a pickle sandwich like that. But it's low carb. It's got the potato chips and the popcorn. All right.
Okay, so here we go. I can't see the price of a Prusa printer. I'm able to level my printers perfectly and go through the settings, PID, and so on, and see nearly perfect prints all the time. And I mean, that's a completely fair statement. I mean, I don't disagree with that. The hard part is, how do you take somebody from opening the box, from exactly what we did today? How do you take somebody through all of that to get them going on 3D printing without them freaking out and shipping it back because it doesn't work? And that's where the value is. And we discussed this a little bit already on this stream. We're not going to be able to make these advanced glue guns better, spit out plastic better forever. We have to start, if we're going to continue down additive manufacturing like we do in our homes, we have to get to a state where it's the microwave, it's the toaster. You get it out, you make toast, that's it. And that's where they're trying to go. And you can talk about price. I mean, there's a lot of machines in this market now at around this price range, but end to end, Prusa tries to control all of the aspects of it. They make their own filament so they can control the tolerance. They develop their own firmware in-house. They have their own slicer, and it's completely under support. You can get support from them 24/7, and they've done it for years and years in a row, right? They keep improving the firmware. I mean, they listen to their customers, right? They try to continue to improve. And for me personally, that's where the value is. There's sometimes, I love messing with 3D printers just as much as everyone else does that comes to this channel. That's what we're here for, right? I love it. But there's sometimes I don't want to mess with a 3D printer. I just need it to work. And that I still believe, I will stand by the Prusa name. That's what they're trying to do. That plain and simple. So it's not the printer for everyone. It is not the best printer in the world. But you can see just from the evolution from 3 to 4 what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you out of the box and printing. And, that's where the money is. And, of course, they're making profit. I mean, they're a giant company now.
Yeah,
That's the point.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of folks at Prusa. I love them dearly. They're great people. I love talking with them, hanging out with them. Completely outside of 3D printing. I mean, they're just people, right? They just work for a company trying to make their money. Say what you want, about any of this. I still believe that I get treated fairly, and I still give them my money. They don't do anything for me personally. They've never given me, free stuff to show on the channel. So everybody has their own opinion, and everybody wants to do something a little bit different with their printer. If you need a machine that's going to cook and really turn out the parts, the great thing is there's a printer out there now that will do that. You can go buy it today. You don't have to, build your own i3 machine. So there it is, off the soapbox now.
Will Prusa require PID firmware K value adjustments when changing hot end assembly?
Well, I mean, the only thing you're going to change is the nozzle. So you shouldn't have, if all you're changing is the nozzle, no, you won't need any PID adjustments. They do have stuff, I don't know about how far it is in the Mark IV firmware yet, because it's 32-bit. I know the 8-bit firmware a little better, but they have put stuff in there for thermal models that allows them to adjust for things like that on the fly. The firmware's kind of taking over that part. So I'm sure that will be coming to this ecosystem if it's not there already. So you really shouldn't have to worry about things like that with these machines going forward. Competition is good. Competition is what makes things happen. I work in a world on the mainframe. I work on mainframe computers. And that is a great example of what not to do. There is no competition. Zero. There is one manufacturer. Everybody has to buy from them. And it is so expensive, it is literally crippling companies. There's been people running on this ecosystem on the mainframe since it came out in '59. They just keep pushing it forward, and IBM just keeps taking them to the cleaners. That's not right. There used to be multiple people that built mainframes. Not anymore. I mean, and that's when industry gets stale like that, it doesn't force them to do anything. They're just sitting back and counting the money. And that's never a good thing.
Yeah, very difficult to get off of mainframe, too.
It's
impossible, it seems
they
like.
pushed you into a corner completely.
Yeah, they got you.
I love this in the chat. All these different people come to this chat. Somebody said Fujitsu, and that is true. Fujitsu is the only other manufacturer of a mainframe. And I've worked in mainframe for 20 years. And I've never seen one. But that is very true. I think they're much more popular overseas. I know there was a lot of legal action with Fujitsu and IBM. They were fighting about it. There has been over the years. But yeah, that's true. There's kind of 1.5 manufacturers for mainframe nowadays. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, the community is super exciting. It is. I agree. It's never fun. And I am not one to take anybody's side on anything. I mean, it's like you know, you try to be the best person you can and do what's right. Right? I mean, that's just kind of the rules of the world. To go with that, and you'll do well. There's advice from Father Chris there for a minute. But I just you don't ever like it. You don't ever like to see anybody stand back and take this huge opinionated stance against or for something, and then not listen to anything else. I mean, that's no fun. I mean, that's what makes all of this interesting is all the stuff that happens all the time. And we're in like this huge boom of development right now. I mean, all different kinds of things are coming out. We're starting to see these crazy speeds and all these different firmwares and things. I mean, this is what makes it fun.
This guy Vincent Robles says, I'm switching gears on you a little bit. This guy Vincent Robles says that the first job he had is IBM 3090 shop. And it reminds you telling, what was your first job when you were with computers and...
Yeah, so I've kind of had an interesting career. The first shop I ever worked in, I was a tape hanger. I hung 3490 cartridges, and we worked in a library. And there was two different businesses. One was a hospital, and one was a financial institution. And we had a library with 180,000 tapes in it. And a tape cartridge is about like this. So like we had 52 tape drives, and all night long these 6-digit numbers would pop up, and you had 50 seconds to complete the mount. So you just hoped that most of the tapes were close to you. So the number would come up, and there was like 3 of us per shift. The number would come up, and you would sprint to the cartridge, and hopefully you could get a couple at a time, and then come back to the machine. And that was my first experience in an IT shop.
How old were you?
I was 17. Yeah.
I don't know. I really like that story. I like that story about you being a tape runner.
I think I made $3.96 an hour.
And you had a car though too, didn't you? Have a
I
hot
did.
car.
Oh yeah. Well, that was
the
all.
Eclipse, right? Or
yeah.
was that something else?
Yeah. At that time, I had a Mitsubishi Eclipse, and that, like, as a lot of young men, that's where all of my money went. And it wasn't a good car by any means, but when it worked, it was pretty fast. So you were always out there wrenching on it and things like that. So, basically I worked and then worked on that car. That was my whole childhood. But
yeah. Mike called you a tape jockey. That sounds about right.
Yep, the tape hangers.
I don't know. I like
That's
that
us.
story. I like hearing that. You were getting in on the ground floor, honey.
Uh-huh.
It's your destiny.
Yep. Yeah, we that shop had like that was an interesting shop because they had a little bit of everything. But after I left that shop is really where I got in the weeds. They bought some sort of small company. This company I worked for bought a smaller company, and it was downtown Kansas City in this old building. And they're like, hey, we lost somebody. We want you to go down there and see if you could help out. So I went down there, and they had these 2 ancient ES9000 machines. And I know not everybody knows what that is, but it's the blue and white cabinets that were as big as this room. There was like 8 or 9 of them stacked together. They were full of squirrel cage fans, just really old school stuff that they were still limping along on. So that's where I got in there, and like literally if something was broke, like on mainframes and high-end IT equipment, you call the vendor, right? And they come out with a part. You pay these exorbitant amounts of money for service, $50,000 a month, something like that on this one machine. Well, it was so dilapidated and so run down that they would literally say, can you go out and see if you could fix that? And you open this cabinet. It's a mainframe computer. I mean, it's the size of this room. You open this cabinet and there's things whirring and spinning and fans. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was like 18 or 19 years old. And they're just like, well, maybe something easy. It's never anything easy. So I got a lot of on-site experience at that place. That was really interesting.
This guy's first job was at Bell Labs working on a Unix in 1975.
That's back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little system called Unix, man.
Yeah.
Unix, Unix changed the world.
Yep. Database manager for mailing company was Scott's first job in tech.
Nice. See? All the good stuff, all these IT folks.
What's this? Buzzbird says building a box frame printer, my own heater block design, and my own contract bed leveling, all screw drive for super accuracy.
Sweet.
Yeah. He's gonna be testing food heater lights for bed chamber heating. Ooh, that might run a little hot. I don't know.
I don't know. You can get those chambers pretty darn hot.
Yeah, or like even like maybe like a lizard, the lights for the lizards, the heating lights for snakes and lizards might. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah. That's one thing that people ask me about, those chamber heaters all the time, and I don't see them much anymore. Like, there for a couple of years, you could just buy one of those little heaters. I don't see a lot of good options now. I've been meaning to ask Dave or Print Solid, like, what are they doing with that kind of thing? But I've even searched around on Amazon. There's just not. I mean, there's things that you could do that would work, but nothing really quite as convenient as those little heaters were.
Rushmere 3D wants to know, what do I do? Well,
whatever she wants.
in my past life, pre-COVID, I was a lunch lady, and I really enjoyed that. That was good work. And then the COVID happened, and we just decided it would be safer. Nobody knew anything, right? Nobody knows nothing, and everybody's gonna get sick and go to the hospital and die. So I went ahead and quit. We didn't need me to work anyway, so I stayed home. And now that COVID's over, it turns out I kind of like not working. So I take care of him, and I go to the gym. I just I live a life of leisure now.
Yeah,
I look after him, and I do edit. I edit his videos, and I answer emails, and I mean I do that end of it too. I'm not just sitting around. I work for the channel also.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't let her fool you. She does all the crap that I don't want to do.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I run errands and I do things. I'm a personal assistant.
Yeah,
Homemaker.
If I was still doing, because at one time when we were doing the channel, like, I was doing 2 videos a week. No, they weren't very good videos, but I was still turning them out. I had lots. And now we're down to like 1 video a week, and maybe a live stream here and there. We don't do that much. We're not as active as we used to be, but I can tell you this. If I still had to do all the work for the videos, record everything, and then go edit it and keep up with comments and social media, I probably still wouldn't be on YouTube. This scenario that we're in right now, the older I get, the harder it is for me to get motivated to do this stuff. If she wasn't lifting a lot of the load from that side, I'd get one done a month. This is the only scenario that I can continue to work on this, because remember, again, I have a day job that is pretty demanding. Also, we have never profited from anything on YouTube. We're way in the hole as far as finances go. So it's not like this. I mean, the money from YouTube is very helpful. It pays for some stuff, but not near all of it. So, yeah, if she wasn't working, if she finds a job that she wants to go work outside of the home, YouTube's going to dry up. Just saying.
I back him up.
I have a few old computers around.
Red Like Mike. Thanks, Mike, for the 5. Mike does the scrapping business. He takes all the old stuff and pulls the wires out and all that good stuff. So he's always got lots of stuff hanging around. But it's good to see you, Mike. Executive producer.
That's right. Yeah, it's pretty good. It keeps me busy.
Go team!
Yeah, we get it done. Hello, pal. Welcome to Basement Bragging Rights.
Do you like that? That's all. That's the only thing clever I could come up with for YouTube members. Plus, he's got a dog on his thing. I mean, that's like the best ever.
Yes, that's true.
That's right. When you have somebody there, it's just to assist. I mean, things go 10 times faster. Doing stuff by yourself is always really difficult. Our llama probably has like 5,000 hours
Hey,
left to go. It's only
how's
at
our llama
19%.
doing?
I was hoping for it to like at least get to the body of the llama before we
Oh, we got a little time. We're all right.
right at 2 hours right now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll transition over, give you a close look of the print for a moment. He's got little robot legs. Supposed to be really hot here today.
90 in the 90s, according to my 74 right now, according to my laptop.
90 this weekend. The summer is going to come in fast. It always does. It's hot and cold. That's all the seasons you get. John Strand. Thoughts on the K1?
K1. What's K1?
All right. Let's do this.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Pal, awesome. I'm glad I could help with your SKR board. Oh, Steve Builds joined us. There's Charlie. So the K1. I think by now we all know what Creality does, right? They take these machines and they try to make them affordable. And I think that's what they're going to do with the K1, right? They're trying to take the Bamboo model, the Core XY, high speed, make it more affordable, and get it into people's hands. That's kind of their mode of operation. You always hope that they're going to do it well, but personally, I think Creality's done. I mean, Creality still has a place, right, in our ecosystem. I think they have the size, they have the weight to put behind these things, and turn out a whole lot of 3D printers, and that's good because it gets 3D printers in more people's hands, right? I mean, that's a good thing. Now, I think Creality has made some poor decisions. Some that might have hurt us a bit. So I really don't have any interest in Creality, personally. But again, like I always say, use whatever 3D printer you feel like using. Now, here comes the K1. So, what I hope they do is they take the model that's already out there. We don't even need to talk about manufacturers. You know what I'm talking about. They Creality-tize it, as they do. They get the costs down, and there's still a decent product. But it's still going to be a Creality product. So it's going to take, you're going to get the Creality printer, and it'll probably be okay. But with a few tweaks here and there from the community, it will probably be really good. But I don't have one. I don't know anything about it, what they're doing. But just based on the past that I've seen, they're going to put out a product that's about 85% done. It's probably going to be just a little bit on the light side of probably what it should be. And then you can take that and make it super awesome with all the modifications that people are going to make for it. And that's actually a really fun exercise. I mean, that's why we did so many Ender 3s. You take this thing that costs very little money and you can make it this really awesome thing. That's a lot of fun to do. But I don't have a lot of faith in Creality to put out something like, bam, right out of the box, it's super awesome. But I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope that is completely wrong and they make it happen. But time will tell. So that's kind of my thought when I see things like the K1. We'll see what happens. Now the chat's going. You're welcome. Absolutely. Old curmudgeon's here. I didn't say hi to him, but absolutely it can. I mean, they're basically the same platform. You know, I mean, it's all the same thing, but you're going to have to do some work. Which, again, can be really fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you like to tinker, then there aren't really any bad printers. I mean, I'm sure that there are really some bad printers out there, but I mean, but if you like to mess with stuff, and like I know you do, then, I mean...
That's the hobby part.
That's exactly right. Now, I am not the tinkering type. I'll throw it out the window. Like,
well, and I know a lot of people like that. I mean, they want it to work right now. You know, and for $5, you know, I mean, they want it as cheap as possible, and it's got to work. And I mean, there's all kinds of different customers. But if you look at it from our standpoint, the hobby section of 3D printing, it's great that we can get things like that.
I have to go upstairs and get my power supply, my laptop.
You're running out of juice. So let me take you off the
I don't
screen.
care. You could just see this lovely view of the laundry room here. I'll be right back.
I'll flip over. There you go.
Thanks.
DaVinci XYZ, tinker away, absolutely. But, you know, the guys that were, or the folks that, there weren't just guys, but the folks that were tinkering with those back in the day were lifesavers, trying to get us through some of those machines. Every once in a while, Creality does something right. I agree. I mean, it's just, a lot of the time it seems really phoned in. But I hope I hope they do good. Quality control is a really hard thing. I've witnessed that in many industries. You're right. Marco, thanks for the sub, by the way. Llama's fault. Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, it's again, the things that always interest me are the thing, like, so you get, people are getting these machines, and then all the folks that we've known for years, what they're doing to them. You know, it's like, wow, and they always come up with some really cool solutions. And if those companies are smart, they put that on the machine, right? They just, okay, version 2 now has all the things the community did to it, right? Yeah, Ford versus Chevy, yeah. I'm okay for now, thank you. Ford versus Ferrari. Oh, there you go. Watching the stream, the wife has requested he print a llama on his Mark IV. How fast can the Mark IV bed get up to 90? I don't know. I mean, it's very similar to the Mark III bed, and you can get to 100, 110 in around. I'm probably talking out of school here, but I want to say it's like 10 or 11 minutes. It's not some ridiculous amount of time. It does it relatively quickly, but also keep in mind too, like anytime I would print that high, it's probably going to be inside an enclosure. So that's going to give it a little bit, you know, it's going to let it keep the heat a little. That might expedite things a bit. It's probably not a word. So it doesn't take that long at 24 volt. Exactly the same bed. Yeah. Yeah, the 24 volt beds are pretty snappy. I agree. They're real thin. They should be able to kick out the heat.
Back.
Do you want back on camera?
Sure.
All right. You just let me know. I got all these buttons over
Got all
here.
the buttons.
I'll push them. I'll do it. PCB beds. Yeah. We keep calling it the llama. It's actually an alpaca. Prusa has alpacas.
Ah.
That's why they couldn't find it online. Anytime. I'm here for all of you. Anything I can do, you just let me know. Expedite. That's a much better word. Instead of me making up words. Distribution retention uniform. I don't know. We could. I'm planning on doing some content on the 4. So we'll get out, when we do, we'll get out the FLIR camera and we'll compare it. See what it looks like. It'll be good. This is a spicy stream today. Muy caliente. That's what Steven said, it's a spicy stream.
Alrighty. Thanks.
Yesterday was Cinco de Mayo after all.
That's true. We had carne asada on the grill, and it was yummy.
It was very tasty.
I found a really good recipe with nice marinade with jalapenos and orange juice and onions. It was pretty good. It turned out good. Chris is a very good griller, too, by the way.
I can burn the out of meat.
He's a good cook. We had, and I made some. We made some margaritas and had some Mexican beer and celebrating our non-heritage. I don't know, just celebrating the day. And it was really nice outside too. The weather was great.
I don't know anything about it, but they've got a really beautiful country.
I've heard that Steven at Lightspeed. Yeah, I heard that Steven. They don't even acknowledge Cinco de Mayo. That's just an excuse for Americans to get wasted.
Well, about wasted.
Well, okay, wasted might be a little much, but any excuse for, to drink and eat food and to to appropriate somebody else's culture. Yeah.
Cook on a 3D printer bed? You probably could.
I bet you could fry an egg.
You could definitely cook an egg. Yeah.
I'll bet you could fry an egg on a print bed if you got it hot enough.
St. Patrick's Day of Mexico.
Buzzword says, I live in Mexico. I ate Mexican food yesterday. Again. Well, thank you. That's funny.
Well,
for the 7,000th day in a row.
we were in Mexico, and there was a lady there. She was from the States, but she like rented a condo. She'd been there a long time or something, and she was like in a condo next to the place where we were staying. And I asked her like to like I was trying to figure out how this was going to come out, right? But basically I asked her where do you get good Mexican food? And as soon as I said that, I'm like, do they just call it food? I mean, like, I don't think I was supposed to say that. I got confused. I've never been out of the country before that trip, so I didn't know what I was doing. But I don't know. I reflect on that moment. It's like, we just call it food.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Everything was really good. Fish was really good. Everything was good. We had a great time.
Yeah. White people. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. We say both food and Mexican food. Yeah, I'm a little nervous if we do go to London. I am nervous about the food there.
Food. London, I mean, especially London, but you figure the UK is like extremely Americanized by now. And I mean, it's not even Americanized. It's just modern. You know, like the iPhone is a great example. You know, I mean, they have to be. Because I when I think of London or going to Europe, I think of the stories that my grandfather told me when he was over there in World War II about how horrible the food was. You know, and I don't know all the details to that story, but it's not the same, you know, like, but that's always like the first thing I think of, you know, boiled food. But I'm sure it's not nowhere even close to that.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure, yeah, but you know, my Midwest palate is,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm finicky.
They're not going to put country gravy on everything.
No sausage gravy on everything.
Yeah.
I hear though that biscuits and gravy is making its way across.
It should.
Yeah,
it's tasty.
It's sort of the thing to try. I don't know though. I'm sure that's not true, but
Andy says we can get any kind of food we want.
I'm sure that there'll be something. I'm sure I will find something. I do like food, so we'll see. Yeah, fish and chips in the newspaper.
Yeah, there you
go. So there we go. Biscuits are cookies, though, right, Ryan? So we'll see. I'm sure I'll find. I'm sure it'll be fine. Bangers and mash, right?
Yeah, it's
I'm
all.
Sure I'll find something.
All in good fun.
Yes. Andy, you'll have to tell us what popular British English dishes there are for us. Things must tries.
Fish and
Spotted
chips.
dick.
Oh, great.
Woo!
Now we have been demonetized.
The food.
Fish and chips are to be eaten by the sea. That sounds lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Toad in the hole.
Oh, that's just an egg and toast, right? Toad in the hole, with that?
Yeah, I think so. Blood pudding. There you go.
Ew.
Are we going to Smurf? You know, I would really like to go. I mean, I have all intents and purposes I would like to go. But the travel does freak me out a little bit. 3 hours for us to New York or wherever we go, Boston, wherever we fly on the east, and then like 5 to 6 hours on top of that. I've never been in a plane that long before. I don't know. I would like to go, but it does. The travel does concern me some.
Well, I think that it's it's gonna be a long flight. I've done 6 hours, so.
Well, not to mention it's going to cost a fortune.
And it's expensive.
Yeah.
Jeez. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have to save our basement box to go.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. We'll see. If we don't get there this year, then I think we definitely make a run for it next year. You know.
Yeah. Take some pills for the flight.
Yeah, I think so. Mother's Little Helper, I think, would be in order. And we'd be going at night. It'd be sleeping time for us, and then we'd get there. It'd be 7 a.m. So try to get some Z's and try to sleep a little bit. Not so bad.
Yeah. I had a thought about that and I forgot what it was. But anyway. So we'll see. We'll see if we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's what I was going to say. Like going to Goshen, Indiana costs a fortune. I mean, everything is super expensive to go anywhere. I mean, we drove to Denver and I mean, the room and between the room and the gas and everything like that. I mean, it just costs a fortune to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Tell Prusa to sponsor. Yeah, I don't know if I can make that happen or not. I don't think I have that kind of pull.
Maybe one day. I got a few tricks up our sleeve. We might be figure this out.
We'll see.
We will see.
Europe flights are cheaper than Hawaii.
Good to know.
The New York-London bridge will be finished. You can drive.
Yay!
That'd be quite the drive.
Would be. I don't know though. You know what? It'd be a long drive.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A very dangerous long
I
drive.
got to thinking about it. And I'm backpedaling.
No, not happening.
Yeah.
Even if it was possible. Where is the XL? I will show you where it is. It's over there. Sausage surrounded by Yorkshire pudding. What days are Murph this year? That is a great question, Mike.
Let me look. I have it. I have that information.
I want to say it's I get it confused with Loveland because it was like the 22nd and the 23rd.
It's at the end of June.
It is
I
the
know
last
that.
weekend in
Let
June.
me, Friday the 23rd, and then the 24th and the 25th of June. So
24th and 25th.
Yeah.
Okay.
kind of the last weekend in June. Friday the 30th. So, but yeah, we'll head in Thursday. It's a bit of a drive, about 9-hour drive for us, and then we'll take off on Monday. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, Mike will be there on the 24th. Sweet. We should do a live stream with the XL as soon as Prusa gets me the okay with that. We'll make it happen. I swear.
Oh. I keep saying this, but I look forward to Murph. It's so laid back. It's so easy.
It's like going home.
It is. It's like going over to somebody's house and hanging out. It's, Earth is great. I love Earth, and it's so well put together, and so was Rocky Mountain. So well put together. Murph is kind of a free-for-all. It's,
Yeah. No air conditioning.
yeah, just put that anywhere.
It could be 1,000% humidity.
Yeah.
It could be in the summertime now. It's not near as interesting as it was when it was in late March, because it could be 100 degrees or it could be negative 100 degrees. So Murph is always a good time, and they really don't care what you do.
Yeah.
You can just kind of do what you want.
You just kind of hang out. Yeah, Andrew, it'll be his first Murph. So
Nice.
We'll see you there. Come by and say hey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
John will be at Murph again.
John will be there, yeah.
What is Murph? Murph is the Midwest Rep Rap Festival. It is in Goshen, Indiana. And basically it is a outbuilding full of folks like us talking about 3D printers all weekend.
Might be a little ways for you if you're in Mexico.
Yeah, Murph is 11 years old this year. That is true.
Yeah, 11 years old. That's right. It's the original Murph.
That's
It's
right.
the original rep rap.
It is.
Yeah. There you go.
It's in a horse barn. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just so laid back. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's not driving in from Arizona. That's a ways.
Yeah, it's like 48 days away.
Yeah. Yeah. KC rip rap, honey.
I know.
We're
I know.
talking about it. I want a Vegas rip rap.
Well,
I keep talking about I want a Vegas rip rap.
she just wants to go to Vegas.
I just want to hang out at the pool. You guys
Talking
wouldn't
with
see me.
Justin and Mike and Zach at the Rocky Mountain Rip Rap Festivals. They're the ones that kind of put the whole thing together. I mean, I knew it was a lot of work to get something like that put together, but man, those guys did a lot of work in like 6 months. I mean, there was so much to that, putting it all together, and they pulled it off, and they did a great job. but it would take a team of us to try to put something together here. I definitely couldn't do it. We couldn't do it by ourselves. There's no way.
Yeah, it's so much work. I can't even imagine. I wouldn't even know where to begin. I'd be so overwhelmed.
Different moves to a different state every year. Yeah, I was kind of waiting for our alpaca to get to its body.
Andy, I'm gonna try. I didn't get any Fast Fives at Rocky Mountain this time. I wasn't really up for it, but it was so crowded. But I'm definitely gonna get some at Murph, and then if we make it to Smurf, I'll certainly give it a try. That's all. We try to collect that. Try to get some interviews. They're fun. People like them.
Yeah. I'm really kind of torn what we should do for Murph. Honestly, I know we kind of talked about the candy claw machine, but I haven't been to one of these events in a long time where I was just attending. And it's completely different than when you have a table. And because I want to be at the table so people can stop by and we can talk, because that's the only reason to come to my table is if you would like to chat with me. You know, it's not, I mean, you can see some of the cool stuff, you can play the claw machine, but really, I'm just a YouTube guy, right? It's not like I'm selling you anything. You're just coming over, let's have a chat. But you can do the same thing as a participant. I could walk around to everyone else's table and bother you at your table and make you chat with me versus folks, you know, trying to come to my table and chat. And then all the rest of the people, while we're walking around, we can just stop and hang out. So I would like to do that. But then again, on the other hand, I'm like, well, I should really bring something. But I don't know exactly what I want to do. I have a lot of ideas, but like coming up on 48 days till we go, I don't know if I can get any of them done in time. So I'm very conflicted about this whole thing. I don't know. We talked about like we would build like a couple more guitars or something and just have people come over and jam out. Just bring the Prusa casters and just have people come play the guitars while we were chatting or whatever. I mean, that's always a good time.
Yeah, 3D printed amplifier.
Yeah, we could build an amp or something like that.
We could even fashion it a Fender amplifier, or make it funny.
The claw machines are fun, but then again, you got to kind of man the claw machine.
Yeah.
Have a backpack table. There you go. Man, the backpack printer at Rocky Mountain was looking sweet. He had really decked that thing out. It's looking really good. Bring a drum set too. I'll buy tacos. Sweet. I have never turned down a free taco. Biggest live stream. Go play the tables.
There you go.
How do they feel about filming things inside casinos? Probably don't like that much.
No, I mean, I think you can take pictures, but like not of the tables. You have to kind of
get my thumbs broke.
Yeah, they'll get you. You take that seriously.
Dan's gonna be there and just walking around. That's cool. Could you print a set of drums? You can. I've seen people do it. In fact, somebody shared something with me a couple of days ago where they actually printed a 24-inch bass drum, and it looked really awesome. I think it was like Diaz Designs. I'm probably butchering that name. I don't remember. They had like these giant extruders at one time. They were 3D printing full-size drums. Prusa cushion. I like it.
What are they using for the pickups?
Yeah, on the Prusa guitars, you can use anything you want. The cheapest route is to buy one of these kits, and they just have some really cheap single coil pickups on them. It's a kit that's meant to be used to build a Telecaster. So they're just really low-end pickups, but you could swap it out with anything you wanted. But the kit is only like $85. So it's that's really the way to go. Awesome. It's a lot of fun to build. That's a really fun build.
Yeah.
I have a time lapse of me building that one. I really need to get it into shape and put it out there. It's actually a pretty good time lapse. Yes, they were at Earth 2019. There was a company that's the company I'm thinking of, Mike. They did have a drum set there with them that was 3D printed. Printed guitar coil winder. There you go.
Do you have is your Prusa caster handy? It's upstairs, isn't
It's
it?
upstairs. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I can show you a cool picture of it.
Yeah. Oh, or you got a few guitars down here, but they're kind of put away.
This is the one we built for Rocky Mountain. It came out really well. We'll see what we do next though. I'd like to get into like some of the more advanced shapes. We were kicking it around last night even. Like, I don't know, the flying V might be a bit of a stretch. But I was thinking like maybe like a Firebird body or something.
Firebird would be cool.
Firebirds are always cool.
Something I think iconic Gibson is I mean, if you're gonna do a Fender, you gotta do a Gibson.
Well, yeah.
But I think an iconic Gibson of some kind. I mean, the Flying V is the first thing that comes to mind when I think of a Gibson.
That's what everybody knows, right?
Still the ugliest guitar on the planet. God,
up close, they're not very attractive.
not very attractive.
Some people are really into it, though.
Yeah. Your Explorer has a nice shape.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that.
Firebird.
The Explorer is actually my favorite guitar shape. Like, they balance well. They're pretty easy to play sitting and standing because they're not so garish. But it does have a really high hip up here on the top that might be kind of tricky to work into a 3D printed design. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one.
You should give it a try. That'd be a fun one.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, it would be hard to print a Gibson, I think.
A BC Rich.
Yeah.
We used to have a funny story about BC Rich. So BC Rich, they were kind of known for making the hair metal guitars. They had, and like a lot of their models had like multiple points all over them. Some of them were like spider shaped. They were just crazy shaped and they had all these points. There was a discount guitar place here in Kansas City for a long time. They would get like the seconds from the mail order catalogs and you could go in there and buy them. And they always had a lot of these BC Rich guitars that were just really crazy. All these different shapes and points and things. And I guess they got returned a lot because of how fragile some of them were. Like, it would break the finish off of all these different paint points or whatever. But they had so many returns of all these different wild guitars. They would give you 10% off for every point that was on the guitar body. And like some of them had like 7 different cut points. So you could get like 70% off if you just buy one of these ugly guitars. I always thought that was hilarious. 10% off per point. But anyway. Carvin D220. I love guitars. They're great. I just had more places to put guitars.
For sure.
Rapid Stream. Had a guitar from ODD Guitars. Wow, but expensive. Yeah. I've still been seeing like a lot of the carbon fiber stuff out there. Those are always interesting when they build different instruments. It's been a while since I've seen a guitar. Bob, we actually talked about that. I don't necessarily want it like hanging like traditionally like a guitar though, like just vertically in the background. If I did that, I'd probably like put it over here in the corner. But I would kind of like to figure it, like print some mounts that you could put it like this. I think
Like
that'd be
a shadow box or something.
Yeah, I think it'd be a pretty cool backdrop, honestly.
Yeah, it would.
At least for a little while, we could try it out.
Not a bad idea. We could figure that out.
Yeah, I just haven't got around to it
By
yet.
we, I mean you could figure that out.
Exactly.
We could figure that out.
Yeah. We can do something like that.
Symbols are on the sidewall now, Steven. You can see them there.
They're still over there. It's just a little harder to see. I don't have the heart to throw them away.
Yeah. Somebody said a bassist. Music Dad says he's a bassist. Longer neck though, right? On a bass guitar.
Longer neck.
I wonder if you could find a kit.
I'm sure you could.
Surely there's a kit out there.
Bass would have I mean, they're larger strings, but I'm not sure that there would be that much more tension than a 6-string guitar. Because of how much larger they are. I don't know. we'd have to do some investigation on that. But I know you could get a kit and make one.
I'll betcha. Yeah, and that'd be neat. You make it, bring it to a rep wrap. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Mike says he wishes he had the skills to play his Prusa caster. Mike has a video, and I don't know if you've shared that publicly or not, Mike, so tell me to shut up. But Mike sent me a video of his son, I believe, playing his Prusa caster, and that kid can play.
Is he?
Woo!
Is he good?
Yeah, he's really good.
Cool.
He's doing all the fret tapping, and I mean, he's going at it.
Nice.
Yeah. I am not a very good guitar player, honestly. I love guitars, but I'm not that crafty.
Mike, do guitar players still get chicks? Is that still a thing?
Is that still no?
It was when I was in school. But probably not.
Not anymore. Nobody cares about
last
guitar
of us.
playing.
This died. Gen X is the last of the.
Everybody dates DJs now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. God.
How does 3D printing t-shirts work on Mark III and Mark IV? Does it really work? I've seen people successfully do it. I've never tried. But I don't know why it wouldn't work. Especially on the Mark IV, since it has a load cell, it would be able to tell. I mean, it's not going to throw the probe off, right? It would be able to tell where it was. So I don't know. But I'm sure there's somebody probably like Dos Mia or I can't think, Dave Shorey or somebody like that was a lot more crafty than I could probably tell you exactly how to do that. But I would think that would be very easy with the Mark IV setup. So I'd be interested to see though. I'm always interested to learn. Any inside info regarding firmware and input shaping? Unfortunately, I don't know any more than you do. I wish I did. But no, I haven't heard anything about it. I guarantee though, I mean, that's one of the things that everybody wants. And it's already been implemented in many different machines in different firmware. It's in Marlin, it's in Clipper, it's in RepRap. They'll have it soon. I mean, that's going to be one of the selling points of this whole thing, is to be able to input shape. So I don't think we'll have to wait much longer, honestly.
You see this one? What's your opinion on the Solval SV06?
Yeah. Scott, I have the spirit, not so much the skill. Absolutely. And I want to be a rocker. Just it's not as easy as it used to be. Honest opinion of the SV06. My SV06 out of the box wasn't great. And I had really bad heat creep problems. I've heard some people have like leveling issues with it. I didn't suffer any of that. But I had to pull it all apart. Like I tried a couple of different times, longer prints, and it would always jam. So I pulled it all apart and redid the hot end, put some thermal paste on it, and put it all back together. And it's been working great since. So my first impressions with it, it didn't go so well. But honestly, at the price that they get for those, I mean, it's like $230 or something. It's a direct drive machine. Again, there's probably going to be QC problems. You know, you have 10 different ones. They'll all do something a little different probably. But at that price, I mean, why would you, I don't know why you'd go like Ender 3 anymore with machines like that out and available. That direct drive extruder, I mean, it's done fairly well. Again, at that price, it's a pretty nice machine. I mean, I can't say anything bad about it. I mean, it suffers. It's the one I had suffered some of the same issues some machines do. I mean, it happens at that price range. But other than that, it's been really good. So I could review that one probably because it's not. I mean, you either want to review a really bad printer or a really good one. In the middle, it's like, it's okay. That doesn't make a really interesting review. So yeah, but I have put a lot of miles on mine. It's pretty good. Daniel from Modbot, $10. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Daniel.
If you don't know Daniel, he has a YouTube channel. I believe he just went over 100,000 subs.
Hey, hit the clapping
yeah,
button.
so yeah,
Yay,
congrats
Daniel.
for that. That's a good idea. There you go. That's hard to do. But thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the $10.
Thank you.
We're
Yes.
doing well. Hopefully you are doing well. Daniel is great. He is.
Parents are in town visiting, but I had to swing by and say hello. Hope you are doing good, brother. Heart.
Computer. They try.
It did pretty good. All right, so we are at 2 hours and 45 minutes. This thing's so I feel like we didn't do much. So let's recap. I opened the box. I did what it told me on the screen, and now I'm printing an alpaca. That's it. So I really can't give you much information on the Mark IV. It works, but there will be more to come. And I think, I don't like doing videos like why you should buy this printer, but I do think there's enough different about the 4 and the 3, just giving people an idea of why another i3 style machine. I think that would be worth our time to do a video like, here's this and here's that and here's why. Because there are a handful of features on here that are definitely, a leg up from the old school machine. So maybe we'll do something like that. I don't know. Because again, I feel like the live stream wasn't very eventful. It's just us chatting about things, but that's cool. 2 hours and no one mentioned AI or ChatGPT. Good stream. I agree. Nice work, everyone. What camera is filling the printer? It is a Sony AX53, I think is what that is. It's like the Sony Handycam. It's fun. Here, I'll give you one more close-up of the printer before we go. It's kind of in focus. You gonna
leave it on for a minute? Or are you just gonna
do a what?
Are you gonna leave it printing, show it printing for a minute, or?
Yeah, we're showing it printing right now.
I meant after we're done.
No. Printing a cousin of Llama? Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Do you think the beefed up parts for the Mark IV could be used on the 3? I think they could. The real big difference you're probably going to have is these are 10mm rods instead of 8s. So you'd have to switch those out, but you could still use them on the 3. It's not that much different. The X ones are still 8s. So are the Y. But yeah. All right, so I guess we're going to call it.
Okay.
I got nothing else.
It's nice talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Nice seeing. That's a nice printer you got there.
It's a printer, all right.
Yeah.
There was one more thing I was going to say. And I forgot. Oh, yeah. So if you, as soon as this guy is done, I will snap some pictures of it, and I will share it on the Twitters. So at Chris Riley 3D, you can check it out over there. And we'll put it on a YouTube post as well, because I know not everybody's on Twitter. We'll create a YouTube post that should be in the YouTube feed, so you can at least check out the print quality of when our alpaca here gets done. So we don't want to miss out on that. We didn't do a benchy today. I kind of feel like incomplete inside, but that's okay. All right, so thank you for everybody that joined the stream. It was great to hang out with you and chat. Thank you to my sidekick in the laundry room.
Thank you.
All the people that supported us, super chats, joined us with members, just subscribing. That always helps. It's great to hang out with the folks and talk 3D printing for a while without having to yell at each other about anything. It's always fun. All right.
Thanks,
So
Mike, for your help.
yeah, thanks for the mods as well.
Yes, thank
Mods
you,
are always
everybody.
appreciated. So take care, everybody. We will see you soon.
Bye.
I have to lean over here too because I've got another picture in